The alarms began just as Elias Thorne finished tightening the last bolt on the containment manifold. It was the deep, resonant kind. The tone that meant, this deck shouldn't be shaking, but it is, and you should start worrying immediately. Elias wiped a streak of grease across his cheek as the floor trembled beneath his boots. He'd worked on Helion Vanguard for 2 years, long enough to know that when the ship itself groaned, something very, very bad had happened. He snapped his toolkit shut and sprinted toward the emergency hatch as red lights stuttered across the corridor. "Containment breach on Deck 3, the shipwide AI announced. "Royal Transit Wing compromised. All technicians report immediately." Elias froze mid-step. Royal Transit Wing. He had never been anywhere near that part of the ship. That section wasn't just off-limits. It was the kind of place where a janitor could accidentally walk by and find himself erased from the duty roster for security reasons. The royals who traveled with the Helion Vanguard were high-profile, high-power, high-protocol. And Elias, he was a reactor maintenance tech with a talent for fixing broken machinery and an even greater talent for attracting catastrophic bad luck. Another tremor rolled through the ship. He ran. He passed familiar gray metal corridors, then unfamiliar ones, then corridors so elegant he had no idea where the pipes were even hidden. The air smelled different here, cooler, almost floral. The walls shimmered with faint energy signatures he absolutely was not qualified to interpret. As he turned a corner, a voice barked, "You, human, stop." Velanthiri guards stepped into his path, their elongated ears sharp and adorned in silver. Their blades hummed at a frequency that made his molars ache. Elias raised his hands automatically. "I'm responding to the tech alert," he blurted. "Deck 3 systems are failing. I was sent to fix." "You were sent nowhere near the Royal Wing," the captain snapped. "Explain why you are here." Elias opened his mouth, prepared to explain his excellent history of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, but the ship lurched violently. The guards staggered. A section of the ceiling tore loose above them with a shriek of metal. Elias didn't think. He moved. He lunged forward, shoving the guard captain aside just as a crystalline support beam crashed down where the man had stood. The impact shook the corridor. Energy cables blew in a shower of sparks. The shockwave hurled Elias backward and straight into someone stepping through the smoke. He hit her like a malfunctioning projectile. Arms, legs, cloak, everything collided in a chaotic tangle, and Elias found himself gripping something soft, warm, and absolutely not something he should be touching. When the world stopped spinning, he looked up and wished the ceiling had finished the job. The woman before him was unmistakably Velanthiri royalty, silver-white hair cascading like liquid starlight, skin faintly luminous, eyes a radiant gold, and long, impossibly elegant ears adorned with cerulean markings. Her expression was one of stunned disbelief. Elias realized his hand was still on her hip. He yanked it back so quickly he nearly fell again. "That, Your Highness, I didn't. The ceiling was my hand just, God." The guards recovered instantly. 6 blades pointed at him in perfect synchronicity. The princess, because that was absolutely what she was, straightened slowly, dusting crystalline fragments from her cloak. Even disoriented, she radiated regal authority. Her gaze found him, pinning him with the force of a collapsing star. "You touched me," she said softly. Elias' soul attempted to exit his body. "It was an accident. I swear it was an accident. The ship moved and the ceiling collapsed, and I'm just a tech. I don't even know how I got here, and I swear I didn't mean." "Silence," she commanded. Every cell in his body obeyed. The guard captain stepped forward. "Your Highness, the punishment for touching a royal body without consent is execution," she finished quietly, never taking her eyes off Elias. Her pupils glowed brighter. Her ears angled forward in a way he absolutely could not interpret but had a bad feeling about. "Your name," she said. "Elias Thorne," he whispered. She stepped closer, close enough that he could see faint flecks of gold dust across her cheekbones as if stars had kissed her skin. Close enough that he felt the subtle energy field that Velanthiri were rumored to possess, a soft hum that brushed against his nerves like static and starlight. "Elias Thorne," she repeated as though testing the syllables. "You saved my guard captain, and then you." A pause collided with me. Elias winced, again deeply sorry. Her golden eyes lingered on him, too long, too intently. Then she said the words that froze every guard in the corridor. "Detain him, not for execution, for review." The guards stared at her. Elias stared at her. She stared only at him. "You and I," she said quietly, Have something to discuss before judgment is made." The guard seized him, binding his wrists with energy restraints. Elias expected a dungeon, cold walls, dripping pipes, dim lights, something dramatic enough that his future ghost could complain about it. Instead, the door slid open to reveal a chamber so beautiful he wondered if he'd already died. Soft bioluminescent light pulsed through crystalline veins in the walls, casting gentle shades of violet and blue across the room. A hovering panel displayed calming harmonics, almost like a lullaby humming through the floor. A bed formed itself from a shimmer of particles as he entered, adjusting shape until it clearly decided he was too skinny and needed extra cushioning. "This is a prison cell?" Elias said weakly. The guard escorting him didn't look up from his data pad. "Royal detainment chamber, designed for comfort. You may be executed, but you will not be uncomfortable." "Generous," Elias muttered. The guard's ear twitched, possibly amusement, possibly a muscle spasm of someone who wanted him vaporized. "The princess will see you shortly," he said before walking out and sealing the door. Elias sat on the edge of the bed, rubbing his temples. Okay, deep breaths. He had accidentally touched a royal, possibly offended an entire culture, potentially set off an interstellar crisis. Not his best afternoon. The cell door chimed. Elias jumped to his feet so fast he nearly tripped again. But it wasn't the princess. The woman who entered was taller than him, with copper-bronze skin and sharp green eyes that tracked him like a scanner. Her long ears bore delicate silver rings, fewer than royalty, more than guards, authority. "I am Siriath V," she said without preamble, "first advisor to Princess Aeryn." Princess Aeryn. He filed the name away in the part of his brain that memorized important facts to avoid dying. "Elias Thorne," he replied, then added, "I'm very sorry." "That remains to be seen." She circled him like she was evaluating a malfunctioning device. "I've reviewed the corridor footage." Elias grimaced. "That bad? You fell like a collapsing air tank." "Accurate." "You grabbed the princess S. I swear I didn't mean to." Siriath lifted a hand. "Accident confirmed, that part is not in question." "Oh, really?" "The footage is unambiguous, as is the look on your face, which I believe humans refer to as horrified regret." "That is one term, yes." She stopped in front of him. "What interests me is not the fall, it is what you said afterward. Repeat it." "What I said." "You apologized for violating her person," Siriath repeated. "Not her rank, not Velanthiri law, her person." Elias rubbed the back of his neck. "Well, yeah, that seemed like the important part." Siriath stared long, uncomfortably long. "Most beings," she said, "grovel, beg, promise lifelong servitude." You spoke as though she were. "A person," Elias offered, her brows rose. "Yes, a person. Not a title, not a symbol, not the galaxy's most scrutinized royal heir." Elias blinked. Was that wrong? "No," Siriath said quietly. "It was unprecedented." A silence stretched. Then, "She will speak with you directly. I advise honesty and restraint, no more falling." "I'll do my best," Elias muttered. Siriath gave a diplomatic sniff and left. The chamber hummed softly. Elias paced, sat, stood again. Practiced not panicking and failed spectacularly. When the door chimed the second time, everything inside him froze. Princess Aeryn entered, gone were the ceremonial layers from earlier. She wore a simple deep silver tunic, her hair pulled back so that faint blue luminescent strands glowed behind her ears. Without her cloak and crown, she looked young, sharp, tired, lonely, and breathtaking. Elias bowed so fast he nearly headbutted the bed. "Your Highness." "Sit," she said. He sat. Aeryn remained standing at first, watching him with an unreadable expression. Her golden eyes were brighter up close, like molten metal gentled by patience and something he couldn't name. "You touched me," she said softly. Elias made a noise that could only be described as regret mixed with despair. "I am so sorry. The ship moved and the ceiling was falling and my hand wasn't listening, I swear it just." "Silence," she murmured. His mouth snapped shut. She paced once slowly, almost like she had to gather courage. Velanthiri royals did not gather courage. They commanded, ordered, ruled, but she hesitated. "You pushed my guard captain out of harm's way," she said. "You saved his life." "I just reacted." "Instinct." "Yes, interesting." She stepped closer. Elias held his breath. He could feel the subtle energy field around her, like soft static brushing his skin. Royal Velanthiri carried much stronger fields than commoners. Aeryn studied his face. He had the strange sense she wasn't just looking, she was searching. You apologized to me, she said quietly. To me, not to my crown, not to my status, to me. Well, yeah, Elias swallowed. Everyone deserves respect, even especially people who never get treated like normal people. Her ears angled forward slightly. A Velanthiri tell, but what emotion it meant, he had no clue. Most beings fear me, she said. I'm terrified, Elias admitted. Believe me. And yet you still saw me, she murmured. Not the princess, not the power, me. He didn't know what to say to that. She exhaled slowly, as if the admission cost her something. Because of this unusual reaction of mine, I have chosen not to sentence you immediately. Elias sagged. That's spectacularly good news. I said immediately. A less good news. She ignored that. You will remain here until I determine who you are. Why you reacted as you did, and why, she paused, eyes narrowing slightly, my instincts responded. His heart hiccuped. Responded how? She turned away before answering. That, she said, is what I intend to discover. The door slid open. 2 guards waited outside. Aeryn stepped through, then paused, just once, looking back at him over her shoulder. Her voice was quieter, softer, almost human. Do not fear me, Elias Thorne. And for one absurd, impossible moment, he didn't. Then she was gone. The guards sealed the door. Elias sat on the edge of the bed, every nerve buzzing. He was alive. He was detained. A princess was trying to figure him out. Her instincts had responded. To him, he buried his face in his hands. Elias woke to soft, harmonic chimes vibrating through the crystalline walls. Gentle, melodic, almost soothing. For a moment he forgot he was in a detainment room under potential threat of execution, and simply lay there listening. Then his brain remembered reality. Oh right, he groaned. Interstellar disaster, royal embarrassment, possible death, perfect. The door chimed. Elias bolted upright. A guard entered, not just any guard, but the one he'd shoved out of the path of falling debris. The Velanthiri man stood rigidly, ears angled high in the posture of formal gratitude or extreme discomfort. Elias wasn't sure which. I am Captain Varys, he said, voice clipped. Her Highness wishes to see you. Elias froze. I'm not being executed today, right? No, tomorrow. That depends on your behavior, Varys said without blinking, encouraging. The captain escorted him through corridors very unlike the ones Elias knew. These shimmered with faint constellations embedded in the walls, ancient Velanthiri cartography depicting star systems he'd only heard of in academies. The air was warmer here too, carrying a faint sweet scent like stardust mixed with citrus. Finally, they reached a door framed in silver filigree. Varys pressed a palm to a panel. You will speak only when addressed, he said, and do not, under any circumstances, fall. Elias sighed. One time, it happened one time. The door opened, and Princess Aeryn was waiting, not in full ceremonial attire, not surrounded by guards. She stood alone beside a translucent console displaying spirals of data and pulsating waveforms. Soft morning light spilled through bioglass panels overhead, catching in her silver hair and making her seem carved from starlight. Her ears lifted slightly when she saw him. An expression he still couldn't interpret, but it didn't feel hostile. Elias Thorne, she said, come. He obeyed, stopping a cautious distance away. Close enough to hear her breathing, far enough to avoid any further disastrous contact. Aeryn dismissed Varys with a subtle gesture. The door sealed. For the first time since the accident, Elias was alone with her. She studied him for a long moment, golden eyes unblinking. You slept well. He blinked. Is that a trick question? A faint curve touched her lips, almost a smile. It is courtesy. Humans practice this, yes. Oh, right, yes, I slept, adequately. Good. She turned back to the console. I reviewed your file, she began, born on Terra. Age 27. Reactor maintenance specialist. 2 minor disciplinary reports, one for bypassing a malfunctioning safety lock, another for an incident involving an exploding cooling vent. That one was not my fault, Elias said quickly. The vent had personal issues. Again, almost a smile. Your records indicate unconventional solutions to crises. Most of the time they work, he said weakly. Some of the time they explode, in exciting ways. Aeryn's eyes glimmered at that. You are different from the humans I have met. He swallowed. Is that good different or bad different? That, she murmured, is what I am attempting to decide. She stepped closer, so close he could see faint violet flecks scattered through her gold irises. Her presence carried warmth, a subtle hum in the air that brushed against his skin like soft electricity. When you touched me, she said quietly, my instincts reacted. Elias wanted the floor to open up and swallow him. Again, deep, profound, apologetic regret. No, her voice softened. Not that kind of reaction. He froze. His heart tripped over itself. Aeryn lifted a hand, not touching him, but holding it near enough that he felt the tingling pulse of her energy field. Velanthiri possess instinctive resonance, she said. A subconscious response to individuals who pose threat or significance. Threat, Elias whispered, so I triggered the danger response. No, his breath stopped. No, she repeated, voice even softer. You triggered the other one. He stared at her. I don't understand, he said softly. I am not entirely certain I do either, she admitted. But when you collided with me, when your hand, her ears tilted forward at the memory, touched me, the resonance spike matched emotional activation rather than fear. Elias tried very hard not to faint. So, what does that mean? That you are significant, she said simply. To me, why or how I do not yet know. His pulse hammered so loudly he was sure she could hear it. Aeryn stepped back just enough to regain her composure. Her regal posture returned, though Elias could still feel the faint heat of her nearness. There is another matter, she said, turning the console toward him. A holographic schematic hovered between them. Deck 3's power conduits are unstable. The containment breach was repaired, but the harmonics remain disrupted. Your earlier presence in the Royal Transit Wing suggests you have familiarity with its systems. Barely, Elias admitted. Barely is more than nothing, she replied. And I trust your instincts more than those of the engineers assigned. You trust my instincts based on me falling on you. Her expression didn't change. Yes. That scared and warmed him all at once. You will accompany me, she said. We are going to inspect the malfunction directly. Elias blinked. Me with you, Princess you. Yes, unsafely close proximity you. Aeryn's ears flicked in mild annoyance. You will refrain from touching me again. I absolutely intend to. Good. She moved toward the door but stopped, glancing over her shoulder. If you do start to fall again, fall forward this time. Elias blinked. Why? But she was already walking away, leaving him speechless. Elias followed Aeryn through the corridors of the Helion Vanguard, trying very hard not to look nervous. It wasn't going well. His heart was beating loudly enough to qualify as a percussion instrument. Aeryn walked ahead with fluid, quiet precision, the kind of movement that made it impossible to forget she was trained in more than diplomacy. Her silver hair caught the harmonic light as she moved, shifting like a gentle cascade of starlit water. Even without her ceremonial attire, her presence filled the corridor. Elias was aware of everything, her voice, the subtle hum of her energy field, the soft tilt of her ears whenever she sensed something ahead. He tried not to stare. He failed. You are unusually quiet, she said without turning. I'm trying very hard not to embarrass myself. That is unnecessary. Respectfully, Your High, Aeryn, it is extremely necessary. Something like amusement flickered across her aura. He could feel it. Velanthiri emotions carried faint pulses in the air, subtle enough that humans could sense them if close enough. Do not fear me, she said softly. Your earlier words still resonate. That worries me more, actually. She stopped suddenly. Elias nearly collided into her again, her ear angled back toward him. Do not. He froze in place. No touching, got it. She resumed walking. They reached Deck 3, still sealed, still marked with hazard glyphs. Aeryn pressed her hand to a crystalline panel. The wing opened with a deep harmonic sigh. Inside, the aftermath was clear. Cracked conduits, scorched plating, crystalline shards scattered across the floor. The smell of ionized energy clung to the air. This is worse than the reports, Aeryn murmured. Elias knelt beside a severed conduit cluster. Energetic residue shimmered across the cables, flickering in chaotic patterns. This isn't standard damage, he said. Something forced a harmonic inversion. Aeryn crouched opposite him, her eyes sharp. Caused by the asteroid impact. No, this was intentional. Her ears angled forward, a Velanthiri sign of heightened focus. Explain. Elias pointed to the fractured crystalline channel. Look at the edges, clean cuts. Harmonic overload precisely tuned to the Royal Wing's energy signature. This wasn't random, it was aimed. Aeryn's gaze darkened. Sabotage. He nodded, skilled sabotage. They stood in tense silence until Aeryn turned to him fully. Then someone aboard this ship attempted to breach the Royal Transit Wing deliberately. Or specifically, you, Elias murmured before realizing he'd said it aloud. Aeryn didn't deny it. Her gaze lingered on him longer than necessary, gold meeting green, intense and steady. You sensed it, she said quietly, that the intent was targeted. I'm not a security expert, Elias said quickly. I'm just a tech who fixes things and occasionally falls on royalty. And yet, she interrupted, your instinct aligns with my own. Elias swallowed. What are you saying? That someone wants access to me. Her voice lowered. Or wants me removed. A chill ran through him. He noticed then that her energy field had shifted, denser, protective, more tightly controlled. Aeryn, is this common? No, she looked away briefly, jaw tightening. But it is not unprecedented. My position invites ambitions from others. Who? Aeryn didn't answer immediately. Instead, she walked toward a shattered resonance console, her movements slower now, more guarded. Counselor Kale, she said at last. My mother trusted him, I do not. He believes my reign should follow stricter traditions. He opposes nearly every reform I propose, and he believes humans should remain at a political distance. Because we're unpredictable. Because we are different, she corrected, and difference frightens him. Elias hesitated. So you think he caused this? Aeryn turned to him. I think you would not hesitate. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. And I think the sabotage was meant to blame you. Elias felt the air leave his lungs. Me, why? Because your presence is disruptive, she said carefully. Unexpected, significant. The word echoed between them. Aeryn seemed to realize the weight of it and straightened. We are not safe here. The ship's harmonics are unstable. Elias reached for his toolkit. I can try to stabilize the conduit resonance. No, she said immediately, grasping his wrist. He froze. Her hand against his skin, warm, humming with faint bioluminescent pulses, rooted him in place like gravity itself had tightened around him. You must not remain near this instability, she said. If the saboteur strikes again, the next failure may be catastrophic. He looked at her hand, still around his wrist. She realized, too, withdrawing it almost too quickly, ears flicking with something akin to embarrassment. Apologies, she said. That's my line, Elias murmured. Aeryn almost smiled. We will go to the strategic wing, she said. I need to confront Kale, and you, she hesitated, choosing her words with precision, must remain near me. Near you, he echoed. Yes, her gaze softened. If someone targets you to reach me, I prefer you where I can see you. Warmth spread through Elias' chest, dangerously pleasant warmth. Aeryn, I don't know if that's a good idea. I'm a technician, not. You are alive because of your instincts, she said, and I trust them more than most. She stepped past him, signaling him to follow. He did, not because she commanded, but because something in her voice, something unguarded, pulled him like a gravitational field. They were nearly at the exit when the lights flickered. A harmonic shriek tore through the corridor. The walls, the collapsing beams crashed into the floor with a crystalline roar. Aeryn shoved Elias behind her, her energy field flaring bright gold in a protective arc. The harmonic shockwave rippled through the corridor, distorting the air like heat rising from metal. For a moment, neither of them moved. Elias' heart thundered against his ribs. Aeryn's breathing was sharp, focused, the sound of someone trained to face danger without hesitation. Her hand remained on his chest long after the danger settled. You pulled me out of the way, Elias said, still breathless. You are my responsibility, she replied, but her voice carried something more than duty. She withdrew her hand slowly, almost reluctantly, her ears shifting with an emotion he still couldn't decode. This sabotage is coordinated, Aeryn said. Someone is monitoring our movements in real time. Elias exhaled shakily. So what do? We confront the source, she said, her tone turning icy with resolve. Kale is the only member of the council with access to the royal wing's harmonic grid. She turned, striding toward the lift with fierce determination. Elias followed, the near-death adrenaline still buzzing in his fingertips. The strategic wing was nothing like the rest of the ship. Instead of organic crystalline design, it was angular, metallic, built for function rather than beauty. Guards bowed deeply as Aeryn passed, stepping aside without question. Counselor Kale waited inside the command chamber, standing before a display of energy signatures. His silver-etched robes flowed like liquid steel, and his long ears were adorned with heavy rings of status. His expression tightened when he saw Elias. Your Highness, Kale said with a respectful bow, though his voice held no warmth. I was informed you were investigating the Deck 3 incident. I am, Aeryn replied coldly. And he added, eyes sliding toward Elias, "You brought a human." Aeryn's chin lifted. "He is essential." Kale's lips tightened into a politely disapproving line. "For what purpose? He is a maintenance worker." Elias opened his mouth to speak, but Aeryn cut him off. "He saved my guard captain. His assessment of the sabotage was correct, and he has prevented further harm to me twice." Kale's eyes sharpened. "How fortunate or suspicious?" Elias bristled. "Suspicious, I almost got crushed twice because of the sabotage." Kale ignored him. "Your Highness, with respect, proximity to an unvetted human compromises your security." "Unvetted," Elias muttered. "I'm right here." Aeryn stepped closer to Kale, her energy field subtly expanding, a display of dominance so elegant Elias almost missed it. "Counselor," she said, voice dangerously calm, "do you question my judgment?" Kale bowed again, but it was the bow of someone who did not feel smaller. "Never your judgment, only the risk." Aeryn's eyes narrowed. Deck 3's sabotage required intimate knowledge of harmonic engineering. Only council members and upper architectors have that clearance. Kale's ears flicked. "Are you implying something, Your Highness?" "I am stating," Aeryn said evenly, "that I will not permit your interference in this investigation." The tension became almost physical, like charged air before lightning. Kale's gaze drifted again to Elias, lingering too long. "Your Highness," he said softly, "history warns us that emotional impulses can blind even the strongest leaders." Elias blinked, emotional impulses, toward him. Already, Aeryn stepped forward, her presence suddenly overwhelming. "You will not speak of my impulses," she said, her voice slicing like glass. "And you will not speak to him." Kale stiffened. His eyes flashed with something sharp, anger, perhaps even fear, but he bowed. "As you command," he said. "But know this, bringing a human technician into imperial matters is a violation of tradition." Aeryn turned her back to him without hesitation. "Tradition has never saved anyone," she said, "and it will not start today." She motioned for Elias. "Come, there is one place we must go." They left the chamber, Kale's eyes burning into their backs. The lift doors closed behind them. Elias leaned against the railing, exhaling shakily. "Did we just make an enemy?" Aeryn faced him, golden eyes brighter than before. "He was already an enemy," she said softly, "but now he fears you." "Why me?" Aeryn hesitated, ears lowering then lifting again, like she was choosing between two dangerous truths. "Because you are changing my decisions," she admitted quietly. "Because you make me see things differently, because your presence disrupts what he can control." Elias felt heat rise to his face. "I didn't mean to disrupt anything." "You did not need to mean it," she murmured. "Human instincts are potent." She stepped closer, very close. Elias held his breath. He felt her warmth, her faint energy field brushing his skin. Their silhouettes nearly touched in the soft crystalline light. "Aeryn," he said quietly, "if I'm putting you in danger." "You are not," her voice softened to velvet. "You are the reason I am still alive." He swallowed. "You saved me too." Her ears tilted forward, full, unguarded, emotion. "Then perhaps," she whispered, "we should continue doing so." The lift chimed. They stepped into the royal sanctuary wing, a place no one entered without invitation. The air felt different here, softer, warmer, almost alive. Aeryn led him to a chamber of woven light, its walls glowing with the resonance chamber brightened until it felt like they were standing inside a star. Light threaded through the air in delicate strands, weaving around Aeryn and Elias like living silk. The harmonic pulse vibrated through the floor, through Elias' bones, through his heartbeat. Aeryn's hand tightened around his barely, but enough. "Do not move," she whispered. "As if I could," he whispered back. The chamber reacted instantly. Light spiraled around their joined hands, then climbed upward, intertwining in a slow, deliberate pattern that resonated like a deep chord. Aeryn inhaled sharply. "It's a bond pattern." Elias blinked. "A what?" "A resonance alignment. There are only three kinds: threat, kinship, and," her voice faltered, something rare and vulnerable, "connection." Elias' heart stuttered. "And which one is this?" Aeryn looked at their hands enveloped in spiraling gold and silver light. Her ears tilted forward in full emotional display, completely unguarded. "Connection," she said softly. He swallowed. "Is that bad, good, dangerous?" "All three," she murmured. The chamber dimmed, breath-like, then flared again, this time producing an image. A pulse of light formed a geometric imprint in the air, its center glowing with twin colors, Aeryn's gold, Elias' green. The two hues resonated together, soft and steady. Aeryn exhaled as if a truth she'd feared to acknowledge finally caught up with her. My instincts weren't reacting to danger, she said. They were reacting to you, to your honesty, your intent. Your presence. Elias felt his throat tighten. I didn't do anything, I'm just me. That is precisely why, she said. Before he could process the weight of that, the chamber doors flew open. Siriath burst inside, breathless, her ears snapped sharply backward, the Velanthiri posture of urgent danger. Your Highness, she cried. We have confirmation. Kale ordered the sabotage. He coordinated with 2 external factions to stage your removal. Aeryn's aura hardened instantly. Has he been detained? Yes, but he is invoking ancestral right of challenge. He demands a tribunal. Aeryn's jaw tightened. He knows the council despises human influence. He hopes they rule against me. Siriath hesitated. Your association with Elias Thorne will be painted as scandal. They will weaponize it. Elias stepped forward. Then I'll disappear. Transfer ships, leave the Vanguard. I won't be the reason. No, Aeryn's voice cut through his sentence like a blade. She turned fully to face him. Do you think I would allow the council to dictate my choices? My life, my connections? His breath caught. Aeryn, you are not the problem, she said. You are what reveals the problem. Siriath stepped closer. The tribunal will begin immediately. If you do not challenge Kale's claims, they will accuse you of weakness. I do not intend to remain silent, Aeryn said darkly. Not anymore. Siriath nodded. Then Elias must attend. Both Elias and Aeryn said at once, What? Siriath raised her hands. The sabotage targeted him as well. His testimony is required. Tradition demands the directly endangered party be present. Elias stared. So you want me to stand in a room with the people who want me dead? Yes, Siriath said. And also to stand in a room with the person who wants you alive. Aeryn shot her an unimpressed look, but didn't deny it. The tribunal chamber was vast and imposing, filled with crystalline spires and floating glyphs that recorded every word spoken. Council members stood in a semicircle, their robes shimmering with political authority. Kale was among them, hands bound, expression venomously calm. Aeryn stood proud and regal at the center, her energy field expanding in controlled strength. Elias stood beside her, not quite behind, not quite beside. Somewhere in between, Kale's eyes burned when he saw him. The human is here, Kale spat. The contamination of tradition made flesh. Aeryn took a single step forward. Speak of him again in that tone, she said quietly, and I will forget this is a tribunal. Several councilors flinched. Kale sneered. You risk the stability of an empire for a human who stumbled into your path, literally. This bond you claim is nothing but biological misfire, emotion clouding your... Elias surprised himself. Actually, he said, my presence didn't cause chaos, your fear of it did. Aeryn's head tilted slightly toward him, approval. Kale snarled, silence human you have no place in. I have a place wherever you tried to kill me, Elias said. The chamber rippled with shock. Aeryn's aura flared in fierce satisfaction. Elias Thorne speaks truth, she said. Kale's fear of difference drove him to sabotage the royal wing and attempt my assassination. It is not the human who destabilizes us. It is the fear of change. Siriath stepped forward, presenting crystalline evidence. All communication trails lead to Kale. The recordings show his authorization signature. The council murmured. Kale's composure cracked. You would side with a human over your own people. Aeryn turned fully toward Elias, slowly. Deliberately, her eyes softened. I would side with honesty, with courage, with connection. Elias swallowed, heart hammering. She stepped closer, not touching, but near enough that the chamber reacted, light pulsing around them in faint resonance. This human, she said, reminded me I am more than a title. He saw me when none of you did. A collective hush fell. Kale looked between them with dawning horror. You formed resonance with him. The council gasped. Aeryn lifted her chin. Yes. Elias nearly passed out. Kale screamed. That is forbidden. No, Aeryn said. That is rare and uncontrollable, and fate does not bow to tradition. Silence. Then the eldest counselor spoke, voice trembling with reverence. Princess Aeryn, if a resonance bond has formed, it supersedes tribunal law. Kale's expression shattered. Aeryn softened. Elias' brain broke a little. So, the elder continued, Elias Thorne is under your protection, permanently. Aeryn looked at Elias. He looked at her. For a moment, the galaxy shrank to a single point. After the tribunal adjourned, after Kale was taken away, After the council bowed to Aeryn's authority, she led Elias out into one of the quiet crystalline gardens. Neither of them spoke for a moment. Then Elias exhaled. So I'm permanently under royal protection. Aeryn stepped closer. If you choose to be. His voice softened. Do you want me to choose it? Aeryn's ears tilted forward in full, unguarded vulnerability. Yes, she said. I want you near me, not because tradition allows it, but because resonance does. Elias